Can you be friends with your customers if you own a small business? Being friends with customers is a incredibly risky proposition. One of the things I had to think about over the course of this past year was, is it really a good idea to have more than a business relationship with anyone whose car you repair? And so I realized that the answer is not a simple yes or no. It's more like it depends on who and what stage they're in their life. And so one of the first problems that I have to sort of address when I talk about this is that the people that I work with, the people whose cars I repair, the people who I've fostered relationships with for years, whether you're my friend or my customer, if you're paying me to do a job, I should be doing my best work. But if, regardless of what I have to do for you or your car, that friendship has to be a non-binding, no expectation sort of relationship outside of those quote-unquote car repairs or the exchange of money for services. Let me explain what I mean. If I repair a car for somebody, whether or not I do a good job on that car does not define who I am as a person. This is sort of a difficult question to really answer, but if I do a job for somebody and I don't do a perfect job, and then they don't like me because of it, it means that they probably were not, a real friend, because they had a set of expectations that I had to fulfill. And I think when you really care about someone, when they're really your friend, the expectations are not necessarily there, based on the person's performance. You're more looking at their character. So if I were a drug addict or a rageaholic and I was disingenuous with the people in my life that were my friends and my business contacts, nobody should want to be my friend. However, if I'm working on their car, I make an honest mistake and I'm putting in my effort to help them or whatever, and I'm trying to be fair to them, then, great, I'm doing a good job. But you have to separate that Pierre from the Pierre you're friends with, because there are other things that I do besides fix cars. And so I've learned that another thing about being friends with quote-unquote customers is a little bit harder when the customer is difficult to read and when they come in and they act like they like you. So let's talk about that a little bit. 95% of my first initial interactions with new customers are favorable. They're very friendly to me. They're very kind to me because they know that there's something I can do that a lot of shops just don't want to do, which is fix a 50-year-old car. And so they're nice to me in the beginning, and then that relationship deteriorates over time because they get upset when the realities of fixing an old car, start to rear their ugly heads. And I've had some customers, you know who you are, that were not like that at all. They were great the whole time. Great at the beginning, great in the middle, great at the end, and great after we finished up their car. I've had some customers, though, and this is more common than not, where the relationship is entirely based on my performance with their car. This is really what irks me. If you're going to bring a car here, you need to have three basic things that you understand. The first one, it's going to take a long time. Number two, it's going to cost a lot of money. And three, it's not going to be a smooth, straightforward process where we just hit these milestones as time goes on. It's sort of like having and raising a child. When Maddie was a little baby, I didn't expect to come across all the issues that we came across with as parents. I didn't expect her to have a speech delay and a motor skills delay. I didn't expect her to not want to walk until she was 18 months. I also didn't, expect her to have such a struggle sometimes pronouncing language. And meanwhile, all the people who help you raise children, all the professionals that work for the state or whatever, like, oh, well, this is a problem, this is a problem, this is a problem. Oh, Maybe your child is autistic. Nobody thought Maddie was autistic, but they definitely scored her very low on their bullshit tests that they like to run on little kids. And if anything, I've learned that these tests don't mean anything. You know, your kid either has a visibly visible and significant problem, or they're just taking their time. So with classic cars, it's like it's a similar thing. You're going to run into delays, and the way that people handle those delays and the way they treat me because of those delays is how I assess their character and whether or not I ever want them to come back, which is one of the reasons that I'm scaling back the number of customers we take, because I've had customers that have treated me well and been my friend for years, and then when something goes wrong that they don't like, they lash out at me, call me a liar, tell me I'm a horrible person, even though I'm doing my best to try to meet their expectations in a timely manner. It makes me really hate doing this kind of work. Now, I've had some customers, I think you guys know who you are as well, that have been great and wonderful friends, but most of those customers are mature. They're not really that concerned about money, and I'm not saying they're rich. I'm saying that they don't sit around all day thinking about more money. I don't have enough money. I need more money. I don't have enough money. They understand that things take time. If I want to do a good job in their car, I also have to do a good job in everyone else's car. I can't just say, well, I'm going to push this project to the side and deal with your car. Everything has to be dealt with and given its appropriate time. So, would I call my customers friends? Sometimes it's convenient to call a customer a friend. Sometimes it's not. You know, sometimes it's like you want to define that relationship very clearly. It's convenient when one customer has something another customer you want, when another one of your customers is something that they want, so you can just say, hey, I want to put you in touch with my friend Charlie. He's been coming here for years. He'll give your 450 SL a great home. Sounds nice, doesn't it? But realistically speaking, if you're always worried about money and you're always worried about results, you and I are not going to be a compatible match as far as friends go. And that's just too bad. But there are some people that aren't worried about that stuff because they're successful and they're relaxed and they realize that they have their finances solved. They realize that I have my finances solved for now, thank God, because it could change tomorrow. But, as Erling Haaland says, stay humble. But the truth is that I don't sit around worrying about that stuff. The things I worry about are doing a good job for my customers and their cars. That comes first. Now, let's talk about one last aspect of this whole thing that I think is very important. And that's, if you're a mechanic, what your relationship should be like with your customers. So these are my 5 rules of how you should treat your customer. You may not consider your customers your friend, but you should be available for them if they have an emergency. You can't say, it's Sunday, you're having an emergency, we'll deal with this tomorrow, solve your emergency. No, you're the person's mechanic. They've spent thousands of dollars in your shop, or they're going to spend thousands of dollars in your shop. You make yourself available for them as best you can. Number 2, if the customer asks for the shirt off of your back, offer it to them before they even ask. You need to give your customers whatever they need to be happy so that they know that they're dealing with a person who cares about their best interests. Number 3, make your needs clear in the beginning. If you can't fix a car in 6 months, hey, I can't get to your car for 6 months. I'm really sorry. If you don't want to work with me, I'm happy to tell you where you can take your car, but I can't do that. You need to be very clear about those things. You need to set the boundaries early on. Like, hey, this is what I tell people. Hey, Friday through Sunday is my family time / work catch-up time. On those days, if you're having an emergency, call me. But please, let's hold off on any non-emergencies for Monday through Thursday. Monday through Thursday, I make myself available the whole day, basically from like 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. And I think that's pretty decent. I keep my phone on me at all times. Okay, now number 4, don't think that you can price gouge one customer and then give a discount to another. Everybody has to be dealt with the same way financially. You know, my friend Steve, who helped me out a lot, gave me that lesson. He said, you can't make some customers think that they're your friend by giving them a discount. Everybody has to have the same metric applied to them. If they can't afford the needs of their car, you know, you're already doing enough. You're already doing enough by being available to fix it, do a good job, stand behind your work. And then number 5, that's the last one, stand behind your work. If your customer needs something, you need to make sure that you get it resolved if they've paid you fairly. Now, if they've negotiated their invoice and screamed and yelled at you and said, oh, we need to take $5,000 off the total or whatever to make this work, guess what? Sorry, you know, I can't be as dedicated to you as I am to a person who pays their whole bill. It's just a fact of life. But I hope this sheds some insight on what it's like for me to have relationships with customers. If you enjoyed watching this video, please like, share, and subscribe. And check out my other YouTube channel. This is Night Shop, where we blog stuff that happens in our garage. I'll see you guys in the future. Thank you to all of our Patreon supporters, and have a great new year.